Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and I run a diamond painting and accessories business. And today I am starting a vlog where we revamp this shop again. So I do like to change things up, as you may already know. And about a year ago, it actually was very hot weather at the same time, which it is now. I decided to move the shop around and bring this part behind me from the wall over on the right and create sort of an L. I also did a few other things within that revamp. I bought an extra desk. I also bought printer stands for the printers to sit on so that I could wheel them about. I'm not sure if I bought anything else apart from maybe a stand for the vacuum. But yeah, I did a few different bits. However, this last week, apologies the printers are on, but this last week I have been sat bagging up round Diamond Industrials. And while I do sometimes put something on to watch or listen to, sometimes I sit there in my own thoughts. And that's a bit dangerous. That's what I've done. So, we are going to have another revamp of this shop. We are going to be moving a couple of bits that have not been moved before. Primarily the 3D printers. But if anybody saw a vlog a couple of weeks ago, I sort of moved my packing desk up a little bit more towards the window. And it's a small thing, but it's the small things that start the big things. But when I'm sat at my work table desk, it doesn't line up with the tabletop that's underneath my packing desk. And it's ever so slightly annoying. But yeah, I'm sat there initially thinking about, you know, are these shelves? I started off thinking, like, do I need something different to potentially hold the washi? Because while it works in those tubs, I'm not as keen on the look of it. And ideally, I want both things to work. So I started looking at that first. Then I thought, okay, take a step back. If I was to redo this shop in effect from scratch, as though we just got it empty and painted, would I purchase the same sort of storage? And I determined yes, primarily I would. There are many things that work in here perfectly, and there are things that don't. So then I thought, is this the best layout for that furniture? And that's when I've decided to change things up. So, today is the Friday. It is actually Friday the 22nd of May. So even though this video isn't going to go up until July because of June Waffle, just to give you a concept of time frame, because it might be the last minute titivating bits that take a while. But this is the Friday. We are planning on moving the items and the furniture tomorrow on the Saturday. We have just started a heat wave here in the UK, or the beginning of a heat wave. I think it's supposed to get to about 24 degrees today. Now, I'm very blessed in the fact that where the shop is actually is shaded until late afternoon. That's when it starts getting warmer. But tomorrow is supposed to be about 21, 22 degrees. So tomorrow is bearable and then it goes hotter. So tomorrow is the ideal time to do it. But my plan for today is to try and get as many of the loose things into the warehouse as possible. So while we are moving the 3D printers, we're actually not moving the racks that are in the warehouse part of the shop. That is working. We're also not moving the Billy bookcases that currently have the round diamond dust drills on. One of them will possibly eventually be going, but at the moment they are not moving to a different place. It's just pretty much everything else. And part of the reason I think this will work better is I actually have 2 double plug sockets trapped behind this unit behind me. So we have quite a few plug sockets on this sort of section. So I think popping the 3D printers and in turn the laser printers over this end and making the shop more in the middle will work really well. I will have the same sort of walking distance, not that it's far, between getting trays or things off the laser printers and or getting things out of the warehouse. So yeah, let me give you a sort of tour layout of what it looks like now, so that you can hopefully get some sort of idea if you've not watched before. And then, yeah, I'm going to get starting moving things into the warehouse, and I'm going to try, get all the loose things. So these boxes up the top, they're really easy to sort of get moving straight away. I will possibly move some of this stock as well, but I'm going to see how much the warehouse fills up. But these tubs across the top definitely can get moved in. I also need to move the loose boxes from under the packing desk, make sure they're moved in. Probably try and move my little cart with jiffy bags on. And yeah, just the bits. So let me give you a tour of its current state. So if I currently stand, I am stood in the doorway of the shop. Well, I'm actually stood outside it. But I have my work desk here. And can you see, I have another tabletop that's actually exactly the same size underneath my packing desk to hold tissue paper. And it no longer lines up. Small things. And I've not done this all because of that. However, it will fix that. So to the right, we have a big window that also opens as a door and the second door. We then have the display that was behind me, and it's here that we actually have, I think we have 2 plug sockets that we cannot access at the moment. Then we have one down here that we can access, and one just next to that unit there that we can access. So it would be nice to free up the 2 that are behind. But yeah, so we have this. So I need to move this cart out of the way. I want to move the tissue paper, the boxes that are underneath, and all that sort of stuff, ideally. We then have a sort of 3 unit that holds diamond dust drills and currently washi tape. So this one will also be moving. We then have a tool unit that houses general items and our stickers. And then if I just lock my computer screen, I just realised it had a label up on it. But yeah, then we have the desk, which is a standing desk, because I find that much better when it comes to postage. We have the mail sack, the heat press, and the 3D printers. Ignore that stuff underneath there. That is actually things that Megan and her partner have picked up for their new house, plus some things from her partner's house. So they will be going in my house, in what is currently an empty bedroom and is being used for storage. We then have, if we come back round, this is the door I've just come in. We have a parcel that's arrived and needs sorting. We have the binding machine, which is actually going to stay where it is. We have 2 laser printers, which are going to move. And we have the Billy bookcases, which I think are going to stay for now. And then we go into the warehouse. So for the warehouse, we have 4 different racks and a bookcase, and then we have a second set of racking here. So this one is going to stay, and I'm going to try and fill this space in the middle with stuff today, just to get as many things as possible out of here. And then come tomorrow morning, we will lift up and move the desks out, because they may as well just go outside. They're light enough to move, and that will then give us room to move things about. So a brief thought of what the brief plan is this unit will actually go in place of the 3D printers, and then the big long unit will go across the back, followed by this unit, my desk, 2 laser printers, and then some 3D printers, and my work table will go in the middle somewhere. So let's see if we can get some of this stuff shifted. Just thought I'd give you a mini update on today's sort out. So what I have been doing is I have shifted the things that need to go in the house that were in the warehouse, and sort of move some tubs about, because I want to be able to move all the packing boxes from under the table and things in here. But first, what I'm trying to do is fill the shelves. So I've been moving things about to sort of fill with packing tape and things. I've even got empty tubs in here full of trays that I've taken off the shelves. So yeah, I'm sort of working with small stuff at the moment. As you can see, a lot of the trays have gone. That box needs to go in the house. So now what I'm thinking I'm going to do, and I might pop you on a bit of fast forward, is pack up the diamond paintings that are on the shelves and get them in tubs in all these spaces, and basically try and fill every space before I start bringing in the big things to sort of tuck at the back. So yeah, maybe let's see if we can clear some shelves. I think that might be the next sort of best thing, before, so that as soon as we can lift these down and move them easier. The drawers will probably slide, so I'm not filling anything up on those, but I'm also not emptying them, because they become individual, so we can slide them across the floor with it being a wooden floor. I'm not yet sure what I'm going to do over the square diamond dust. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to actually take them all off. So yeah, I'm brewing over that one. But let's get some stuff packed in boxes, I think, so that I can get those shelves filled up. Right, mini update. As you can see, the shop is looking very bare. So I have decided to pretty much fill the shelves with any stock that I could, ignoring the bottom drawers, because as I say, they can move separately, so we can slide them across the floor. So yeah, I'm going to do a few more bits now. I've got a couple of boxes with like random bits, the stuff I've taken off the printers. But what I'm now going to primarily do is try and move underneath the packing desk. I'm also going to put my recycling away, move the heater, things like that into this back area. Because the tables will move out tomorrow. It's not due to rain, it's due to be warm. And it's now getting a lot warmer in here. Partly because I'm moving stuff and also partly because the sun's moved. But yeah, very happy with the progress that's been made. Let me show you the warehouse. So this is the warehouse at the moment. I've got a little space there, which I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the putty in its original tubs. And then yeah, I've got things, stickers stacked here and the empty tray organisers. So it's slowly filling up back there. But most at the moment has all gone on the shelves. I've just been tucking things on every single shelf possible. So it'll be entertaining when things go back. I've put the gift boxes on the Billy bookcase because this isn't moving. But yeah, so I will probably speak to you guys now tomorrow when we start moving stuff, because I'm just going to lug a few boxes and things in here and try and tuck everything away and basically fill this whole website corridor with stuff. So speak to you tomorrow. Good morning. Happy Sunday to everybody. So yes, Saturday, it happened, but the video didn't. We sort of got started moving furniture, and then, to be honest, I completely forgot to put on the camera, and every time we paused and I remembered, it was like, oh, we'll do it, you know, we'll find somewhere to put the camera while we do the next move about. And then by the time we'd had our rest and went to do the next move about, I'd completely forgot again. So big apologies that you haven't seen any footage of furniture moving. However, furniture has moved. So yesterday, I think it was about 21, 22 degrees here. So we did move a lot of things out, primarily things like the big tables and the chairs. We moved the shelving off the top of the units out, did all the shuffle around, and then put everything back. So everything is in its place now, pretty much in relation to furniture. So we did also have a sort of sit down. We had a few sit downs throughout the day. It was warm. But we have had sort of a sit down and a think of the space and where things are and what's ideal, both packing wise, but also aesthetic wise, because I do prefer it looking nice and neat, but I also want it looking nice in videos, but it also needs to be practical. So there's no point in it looking nice in videos if packing orders is hard work every single time. So Megan and I did make a trip to IKEA last night at about 5:30, I think it was, by the time we nipped. We didn't go for a lot because this rearrange is not as much bringing extra furniture in. It's more pinpointing what we have. So we did pick up another shelf for going underneath the 3D printers, just because, yeah, it's more practical for what we're going to try and put over there. But we've also tried to think of what's stored where. So for example, where the 3D printers are, we have a lot of empty spools that are reusable spools. But a lot of the filament that I pick up, I can't get like just the inner to use a reusable spool that I already have. So I've ended up with quite a few. So we have rethought, so things like that, we're going to Facebook Marketplace, just a load of them to anybody that can use them. And yeah, just having a rethink of what is stored with what as to what makes sense. So yeah, we've had a rejig of that. So we did get another shelf for that unit. We also got some more Billy bookshelf shelves, because we had a rejig of what was the big unit behind me, and what still will be a big unit behind me that's over here. We've had a rejig of what's being stored on there and how. So I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a tour of what it looks like at the moment. I still need to bring all the stock back in. And I've said to Megan, I'll just do that, you know, let her enjoy her day. And then I have asked for her help, just more figuring out what's in some cupboards, and also what we have on the Billy bookcases that are over the other side of the shop that you'll see in a minute. So she's going to help me with that once I've got sort of everything that we know where it's going back in its place or in its new place. Just with those last minute bits of organisation. And to be honest, some of it I may end up doing today, some I may not. We're going to play it by ear, but we're going to start with what we know first. So yeah, let me turn the camera around and show you how it looks today, and then I will find a spot to pop you so that I can do a little bit of fast forward while I get stock back on the shelves, and hopefully get it looking super pretty. Okay, so I am stood by the door again. The door's currently closed just because sunny weather, everybody's outside. But to the right, where we did have the big row of shelves, we now have the 3D printers. So I am going to be removing those spools. I'm also going to be moving those diamond paintings, and I'm going to move the filament out of the warehouse to the 3D printers. So they will store there and some on this extra shelf. The mailbags probably will be moving as well. And we're going to store things for the printers on there. So all printer paraphernalia, should we say, will be this side. So then we have the laser printers. So they're all together in this corner. Then we do have the sort of doing desk. So this is where I tend to cut cover paper. I tend to package things up. This is the sit down and do long task desk. At the moment, this other chair is in. I'm not sure whether this will be staying. It may do. There's a bin behind it which I need to move. But I may keep that by moving it back a bit so that we do have a second seat in here. Plus, Luna loves to sit in that. So we will see how that works. If not, that will go back in the house. But yeah, so this is the doing desk. Then we have the computer desk. Well, I actually have my laptop in here as well, but that is where I print all the postage and things. I currently have the heater underneath it. I'm thinking of lowering this back down and using the chair between the two. We then have 3 cupboards. These are the ones I want to sort out. They hold things like extra little tub storage. Then we have postage paraphernalia and cry cut things. I feel like they can all move towards the warehouse so that I can have the more practical things in here. Even just like restocks of cover paper sleeves and things. So that's one that possibly me and Megan are going to titivate later. Then we have the stickers. So that is where extras of the stickers go. We do tend to print to order, but I tend to print 2 or 3 sets at a time so that I've potentially got some for future orders. And then this is where we've had a little bit of a rejig. So we tried a few different configurations, primarily on the computer, until we've settled on this one. So the idea is the trays will go across the top. We currently have 1 little trash tray in each one to depict the colour. And then we've got a couple of spaces for limited editions here. We then have these tubs that will hold washi tape, 3D pens, other things that are launching potentially. So I've currently got washi tape just stuck in the front up here. But the idea is we'll possibly put a sticker on the front of each. And then we have shelves for diamond paintings, which I've just put a couple of gift boxes, again, just to test. So the idea is it'll be trays, washi tape and other items, diamond paintings, and then this bottom row will potentially be what's launching. So when we have new diamond paintings launching, I'll have a big shelf for each to keep all that together. And then underneath there, we've still got our drawers. These are all still set up in the same way, though we're probably going to have a little bit of a jiggle with some of those. So this far one at the end has all 3D printer paraphernalia in it. That's likely to get moved into a box and moved near the printers, which will free that up for stock. But we're not going to mess with those until we've got all the rest of the stuff in place. I've just got my little cart here with packing supplies on, but that sort of moves about. And then we have what was the other sort of 3 that were near where the desks are. So we've got ones for square drills, and then we're actually moving these small drawers that were behind me into this unit. We do find that it fits a bit nicer, so all of those small things are going to go in that unit there. We have the packing desk with tissue paper underneath. We have actually put the rug here. We did try it near the sort of prep desk, but it didn't work as well. So it's going under here, and I'm going to try not to fill under here with boxes. I'm going to try and just store the extras in the warehouse and just have the ones I need under the desk to keep that free. I can imagine that becoming a lunar spot, but we shall see soon. And then to scroll round to the door, so apologies if the light goes, but we just have the postage rack, tucks in there. We can just wheel it out when I'm doing the postage and push it back when I'm not. And then we have the heat press. So that's all ready to go. And again, I can just move the mailing sacks out of the way if I need to. We have 2 bully bookcases that now I actually think may stay there. What I'm actually thinking of doing with this when we organise everything is getting all this stuff off and potentially in the cupboard that I need to take the stuff out of. Potentially putting that stuff in there and having this as overflow of stock. Because what that means is I will then have this, and this for stock. So as and when the diamond painting shelves fill up, some of the older stock can move over to here so I can still access it and pack it. But what is, higher purchase at the moment will be over here. And potentially the same with other things. So we're going to have a mess with those at a later time. So that is all the shop part. And then if we go into the warehouse, we have our binding machine, which we do still use. Not loads of the time, but we do use some of the time. We have drawers, and then we have stuff that needs to find a home. So, well, the trimmer will be going on the packing desk. We've got boxes that have got all the stock that I need to put back. We've then got, of course, the packing boxes. But like in here is, apart from everything I've tucked on the shelves, the floor is pretty clear because most of that stuff is the big items that have gone back. All this filament, I'm going to move over to the 3D printers. And yeah, some stuff may get cleared out for good, and that's not so much stock, just more the other stuff. But yeah, so this is the new layout for the shop. Absolutely loving this now. Very happy with how that is potentially going to look, and very happy with the sort of work area over there as well. I think that's going to work really well for work and packing. So when I'm packing, whether I need to grab something from the warehouse or whether I need to grab something that's just been printed, it's easy enough to do. And really, this is sort of the hub of the shop anyway. So it's kind of nice to have it back in the middle. So if you were here from when we first set up, this was all originally here anyway. We moved it to create the L because I didn't think of the time of moving the printers. So now we've moved the printers. And yeah, it's amazing how many configurations I can think of for this shop. But yeah, let's get you set up somewhere, and I need to spend some time now getting stock back on the shelves, getting things looking nice again and actually be able to find. It is a bank holiday weekend this weekend, so I do have an extra day if I need it. However, my house has lots of bits in it, of course, with the move, because I moved all Megan's partner's storage boxes and things. I need to get those upstairs and get those sorted out at some point. So I'm going to try and get what I can done today, in the hope that I can get the house back straight on Monday and start with a positive week. So let's get going. Okay, so the trays are all up, or at least what I have printed. There's a couple of gaps, but we have, or I have condensed sort of the ones that we have the mega with as well. I actually still have as many of these trays as I do of these. It's just the way that they're displayed on the shelf. But yeah, all the trays are up. All the diamond paintings are up. Now this shelf is a little bit thinner, or at least these top two are a little bit thinner than I used to have them. But one, the stock of diamond paintings is really close anyway. So filling it up is not really a thing, a drama. And there's still a decent amount of each sort of on the shelf. So that's all worked out. I also did the other wall, rejigged the sort of little tubs. We did have a couple that weren't really being used. So I've had a shuffle about, and the only one that I think I'm just going to move is the one that's for the stoppers. So I'm just going to, if I sell an extra stopper, I'll have to go and grab one. But apart from that, they'll all be near the printer. Now in with the diamond paintings was the Paint Gem mini sets. So at the moment, I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me come around and move you around. I have popped them next to the stickers and next to the computer, which I think will work in many ways. It will work in the fact that when I first print off the orders and check what needs printing, I can quickly check the Paint Gem to see, do I need to print this or not? And if so, print it and have them out and put them on the table. So I can sort of do it as part of my print check rather than necessarily checking them when I go to do the order and then printing if need be. The only thing is, what used to go there was 2 magazine racks. Now, they didn't hold stuff that I needed all the time. I'm just not sure where else they're going to go. So they don't need to be there. I just need to figure out another home for them now that I've figured out that home for Paint Gem. But hey, it's the small things. So at the moment, the diamond paintings are fitting across there, and we do have 2 spaces, which will become the ones that are launching in June, which you guys have probably seen already. But for now, I've put the signs for those 2 on the bottom because they will have a full dedicated shelf of them for the purposes of launch. So that because it's a deeper shelf, and I will then have a load packed. I think I'm just going to pack 2 gift boxes. I'm going to put more stock on the website, but I'm going to pack 2 of each. And then depending on how they sell at launch, depends on whether I need to make more or not. But I think after a launch, 2 gift boxes is a nice happy amount to have. So as I say, I'll put more up for launch. And then after launch, once all the orders have gone out, I'll make the stock 2 and fill up any that I need to fill up. So I'll probably put those in those places. We also have another mystery bag launching in June. So the other shelf I'll probably use for that. And then say come the launch after, the mystery bag will have gone, 2 will have moved up, I'll have the space. And then after that is when I'll start looking at possibly moving some diamond paintings over to these bookcases, these other bookcases. But to be fair, there are also a couple that are nearly sold out. So Tile Pattern and Lemons are nearly all gone. So if they go, everything shuffles up and we've got even longer. So yeah, very happy with getting the diamond paintings back out. Wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm really excited to do the washi. I don't know why, because I think the way I put them in the drawer, I just threw them in. I think it's going to be very entertaining to put them back out. But I am kind of excited because I think I can get like all the washi in those tubs. But what I'm not looking forward to as much is the diamond dust drills, because again, I just took the hooks off and threw them. Well, not threw them, placed them in tubs. So I think I might make myself do that first. I'm going to do the diamond dust drills and then I'll do the washi and get that all set up. I think I'm going to do stock ones all the way across the top, ones that match our cover paper, and then I think I'm going to start with the limited edition, because I can always move the limited edition along to the end when we get more that are standard stock ones, and then limited edition can follow on with limited 3D pens and things, which will be great to use those bigger tubs. And then once we get down to like a smaller amount, then they can go with the pens on the wall. So yeah, let's get the square diamond dust drills away and then look at the washi. And apart from that, I don't think there's a huge amount of stock now that needs to go away, like on the shelves, like I pulled them off for the purposes of doing this. I think a lot of it after that will be things like getting the 3D filament where I need them. I want to have a mess about with some of the drawers, so I have a drawer full of cover paper holders, but then all the extra cover paper holders are 2 drawers over down the bottom. So I want to like consolidate those. I also want to make sure that I've got a drawer or 2 drawers that will contain the pouches, so that I can actually get a load more large pouches created in one and have them, because they seem to be very popular at the moment. And I need to fill up things like the black cardstock and the books and things that I didn't touch, knowing we'd be moving furniture. So I think that's my next sort of plans of action. My plan is to have a lot of pottering in here today and see if I can sort of finalise some things. So yeah, let's keep pottering. Okay, so that became more work than it needed to be. But diamond dust drills are now done. So that wall is complete, which means I now get to play around with washi. Okay, so you saw my pile of washi. That is because I just threw everything in the drawer. Probably a bad idea. But anyway, here we are. We're going to deal with it. So I was going to do all the stock washi across the top. However, there then ends up being 2 to the side. So I've had a change. This is going to be stock washi and this is going to be limited washi. So I've got one up on all of them in order, apart from stars, because we're out, and that will be on my next order as a reorder. So yeah, I've basically just propped one up in front, and what I think I'm going to do now is just go through this big pile, which is here. I'm just going to go through this pile and now just put them all into the tubs, and then I'll have a look at filling up some. I also do want to sort out the labels to go on. So the first lot of washi that we got, they did give me the extra labels, but the second lot they didn't. And I think that might be because I reordered some. So they're just going to keep hold of the stickers and potentially use them the next time, which is fine. What I'm going to do is in a bit, I'm going to get the stickers off mine. So I'm just going to unwrap my own washi and pinch those stickers. I'm not yet sure how I'm going to put them on these tubs, but for now, I want to get the stock in its place so I can go from there. So I have had to shut the door to outside because next door's playing music, which is fair enough, but let's not have a copyright strike on YouTube for anything. So yeah, let's crack the door open to get a breeze while you guys will be on fast forward because the audio will go, and let's see if I can get all this loose washi tape in the right tubs. Okay, so I have done quite a bit of pottering, as I call it. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. I created an almighty mess and then I've pretty much tidied it up. So I thought I would give you a tour of what this looks like now. It is 20 to 8 on Sunday. So I think I'm going to call it pretty much done. I do want to just take a cloth, wipe round the sides and hoover, but it's a very hot day today and it is very late, and I might do that as part of when I'm cleaning the house tomorrow. If not, I'll do it when I'm back at work on Tuesday. So to give you a tour, so we'll start from the door. We have the prep desk, which at the moment is nice and clear. It hasn't been for most of the day, but it's currently nice and clear. Then we have the 3D printers. So I do still currently have mail bags down there. I don't know if they're its final resting place, but we have all the 3D printers, and then I have open filament, which I am going to put in sealable bags, which is what's up there as well. I've just changed the sort of silica beads in the AMSs, so I'm going to give them till tomorrow. It's already dried out loads, but I'm going to give it till tomorrow to make sure it's worked through the filament fully. Bag up some of those and pop those into the AMS just to make sure they're in the best sort of quality to be bagged up. And there's some of these colours I need to go through as well and actually print with, so I may use some of them up. So yeah, so we have all 3D printer things here. We have filament that's a little bit more speciality filament up the top. I've also tucked my gift boxes up the top. They may go back in the warehouse, but for now they're handy. And then we just have some brown paper up there. Underneath we have more filaments. These are either other colours that I've not yet used, not sure when I'm going to, or stock colours of filament, and they are stacked in 2 lots. But basically all the filament is over here, which is fantastic. I then have a magazine holder. This holds labels that I use when prepping. So we have the labels that go on cover paper sheets and other products, the little stickers to say how many pieces of cardstock, diamond industrial stickers, things that I'll use when at the prep desk. And underneath that we have maintenance things for the printer. So we have a maintenance kit, waste cartridges, and then we have extra stickers. We also have those magazine holders that I was on about before, not knowing where they will go. They are tucked in there. So that is the 3D printer unit. Then we have the printers. So 2 laser printers, and I have the A5 and the stickers that are used on this printer, and then we have the cover paper that's used on this printer, and underneath we have standard order paper and then toners for each printer. We also have some labels for the postage printer, but basically all printer things are around there. We then have my desk, which of course has the computer, the label printer, the things I use for postage, for Royal Mail, and then I also have my cover paper sleeves for when I'm cutting cover paper for orders. That more often than not lives on the prep desk. Going up further, we have Paint Gem Minis with my scales and then stickers. Now, in relation to these cupboards, I have actually sorted out these cupboards. So we have logbook cover, plastic covers. We have cover paper sleeves in both sizes. We have the tubs I use when doing diamond dust and bin bags. Next one down, we have all types of grip seal bags, all the different sizes and some A5 envelopes. And then going down to the next one, we have some grip seal bags and then extras of some mailing sacks. So they're probably the least used. I'm probably going to label them up at some point, but for now, they're okay. I have my cart and of course my packing desk. We then have the glorious wall. There are some trays that I need to print to fill up, and then I'm also working on limited edition at the moment. Hubby's just done some maintenance, so I will be printing for the next quite a while. I've also sorted out the stickers for the fronts of the washi bins, so that's all looking pretty. And then I have the things I use when packing. I just like to tuck them away and keep this desk clear when I'm not packing orders. So that's all been done. I have also sorted out these drawers. So we now have cover paper holders in here. If I just use my feet. And underneath we have extras. Next one across, we have large bags. Now I have brought round the large bags that have not yet had the diamond attached to them, because I want to do them so that they'll all live in there. It's just too hot at the moment. And then underneath there we just have some more clipboards and some more plastic wallets that I get from here. So basically just restocks of what's above. That's what I've tried to do with every drawer where possible. Next one, we have the medium pouches, which I did them all a few weeks ago. And then the other pouches, I've brought round from the warehouse the extra stock that we've got. And when it cools down, I'll just do them all. And then underneath this one, we have some extra black cardstock, and then we have pens and wax that I use for making the gift boxes are in that one. Scooting across to my last drawer. In this one, I now have the adhesive. So this is all the sticks to adhesive, rather than having it on the shelf. And underneath is just some more. So I've got lots and lots of space in those drawers if needed. And underneath my packing desk, I have small boxes, and then I have larger boxes, of which I have a few of each style in there. And I'm going to try and keep this part free. Moving over, we have the diamond dust wall. And look, it's got a light shining on them. Aha! Yes, we've got the diamond dust wall, and then we've got putty underneath. In relation to these drawers, each of them holds extra bags that are completed, and then the drawer underneath holds the big bags that have not been put into packets yet. And that is kept in number order as well. Then we have all the smaller bits. So touch of Zest trays, tweezers, bookmarks, discs, grip mats. We go down, we've got the pens, the pickup pens, the metal pen tips, cover paper sleeves, all that sort of stuff. In the drawers underneath here, the top one, we have toolkit bundles ready to go. And then underneath that one, if it will open up, we just have some extra plain cover paper, and we have extras of a few things, the discs and things like that. But again, not very full at the moment. If I get that to shut. So that is the shop section at the moment. Absolutely love it. If we go round to the warehouse part, so I have kept hold of a tub. I might put mail bags back in that, but I'm not sure yet. But over here we have cover paper, pen tips, diamond paintings. So this is where primarily all the diamond paintings live. So we've got some space ready for the new ones that are coming in. And then across the bottom, I have the tissue paper for gift boxes, bags for diamond dust drills, and they're the round ones that I still need to do. So I'll be bagging up loads of those soon. We go further in, we've got a little bookcase. This holds, so we've got pencil cases that are used for toolkit bundles are in there. Extra trays that I have are in there. What else is in there? Extra discs, because we buy those in the thousands. There's some advent bits. And then there's something else. Toolkits for diamond painting kits if customers need them. Going further across, this is where we have some extra storage bits in case we need them. Cry cut, because I now use the heat press, so I don't need the small heat press as much. So that's living here with all the vinyl, because again, that's just going to come out when I'm doing it in bulk. We have a box with advent bags, and then we have things ready for mystery bags. So that's that side. And then the other side, we have boxes. So extra boxes, extra stock, the large diamond paintings, more extra stock, tape, eco books, some extra boxes, because I like to, the diamond paintings either go in that big one, or when we've sold quite a few, they go into a smaller one. So I've got a mixture of the two. And then we have cardstock and paper down the bottom. So warehouse is looking the best it has for a while. Even the tops have had a looking at. So we have a spare trimmer, we have a spare disc binding thing, and then I have a tray storage with no wall hooks. So that's kept separate. But all of this is now clear. All the floor is now clear, which is amazing. Even the top of this is now clear. Ignore those pipe things behind. They're for when I bring my quilt in to baste it. But even the top is all clear apart from pen tips. So looking amazing in the warehouse. As we go to come out of the warehouse, we have our binding machine with our drawers that has things like manufacturer's samples. I keep VAT receipts in there. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. It needs a really good sort out. But at the moment, I know where stuff that's likely to be in there is. Then I've moved the other small bookcase here, and this is holding our extra storage of white tubs in 2 different sizes. I've also got a clear tub on the top, and that is just to take anything that is a second that's going to go in our mystery bags. I'm basically going to use that, and once it's full, I'm going to move it over into the back corner into the big tub. It's just handy to have somewhere to straight away put a misprint or something that's not quite right. On top of there, we have another A4 binder, and what we tend to use this for, this cover paper I need to trim down for going in mystery grab bags. But more often than not, what we did last time was we used this to start preparing launches. So this is the cover paper for June launch. And then this is the cover paper we've chosen for summer and 4th of July. So we like to sort of separate them out. In fact, this one should be on this shelf because that's the cover paper from May. And their paintings ready, or painting and trays ready for June. So I'll probably do some labels for this at some point as well that I can switch out, so that we can have one for each month launch, and then they can all move up, and we can have X number of launches prepared with cover paper, diamond paintings, etc, etc. And then we have the round reels. I've just got the full set in the middle. And then most of this bookcase has been cleared. Let me just get back around the corner to get a better angle. But most of it has been cleared. There are a few things that need a home. So I do need to find somewhere to put the extra hooks. I've got a cover paper roll that just won't fit in the warehouse, and I need to cut it anyway. And I just have a couple of bits that need sorting out here. But it's just got too late and I've got too warm. The sun is now shining in the shop, which starts at about 3 o'clock, but it's now just getting too hot. I've got some pens. I need to put pen tips in. Basically, they just need bits doing to them and then they can be off the shelf completely. And that will all be ready to take stock as and when. And then we have the heat press machine and the mailbag holder, which were there before. I have had a sort out of these drawers as well. Not a huge one, as in this top one that's just got random pens and batteries, and all the rest of it is still exactly the same. But I have moved things for the heat press into here. I have then moved in the cutting holder for the cry cut. The cry cut is currently in the house, but it will be going in the warehouse. And then there's not really anything in there. And then these two just have, one has small trimmers and one has the laminator and pouches. So a couple of those haven't changed, but I have moved all of the grip seal bags out of those and put them nearer to the prep desk, which makes more sense for me. So I feel as though everything is now in its rightful zone, which is good. Sorry, I just thought I'd front face for a bit, though I'm very warm, so ignore all the warm looking part of me. But yeah, I am extremely happy with how it's turned out. I always feel that having a rejig does give chance for, say, a good sort of spring clean. So there are still a couple of bits I want to do, which is primarily just re-wiping the surfaces, because everything that got moved got a clean yesterday. But then I also, hubby says, just done some maintenance on the printers. And then I want to hoover the floor, which has been brushed up multiple times while we've been moving. But yeah, since I've been doing all my pottering about today, it then just needs another hoover. But yeah, the hoover that used to be in this shop has now gone to Megan's partner, because Megan's partner gave his to Caris and Lewis for their new flat. And the Dyson only came in here because we'd replaced ours in the house and it wasn't worth getting rid of. It still worked enough. So all I'm going to do is go back to what I used to do, which was just bring the Dyson in from the house. Because in here keeps relatively clean. And I tend to just like to give the floor a hoover on a Friday, so that it's nice and clean for coming back in work on the Monday. But yeah, I am very happy with it. I do feel like some areas have had more of a sort of spring clean, is this needed, a bit more ruthless than last time. It's currently all in my house. So there are quite a few storage tubs that sort of made it in here because we were using them occasionally for something. But we haven't been using them for a while, but they've not really made it back into the house. There's some storage containers that we had that used to work and now don't. Now, a lot of the time, if we have storage containers that we did used to use and don't use so much anymore, more often than not, we do keep them because products change and we end up going back to certain storage types. So as you may know, the acrylic drawers, we've kept all of them. We're now using them for the round diamonds. I have kept the little acrylic containers that did used to hold the washi. So they have been kept. But there are a few that were just cheap plastic tubs that I've actually said no. I've not used them since the last move. They're going out. So I've been quite ruthless in that way. More so in the cheaper things. I do still have, of course, some of the drawers that we haven't used. I've kept those because we may use those for something else, or we may find that we need more in the future that can go on the Billy bookcase that's practically empty. So yeah, I keep all the better quality things that we will potentially use, and more so I've got rid of some of the cheaper or the mismatch or the things that have come in from the house and have never quite made it back out again. So they've all been cleared out. The old guillotine trimmer that I had, I've cleared that out. All I keep doing is moving that. So tomorrow's job, because it's Bank Holiday Monday, is me to find the time to put those on Facebook Marketplace or find somewhere I can gift them to. And sort of clear that sort of stuff out. I've just taken it out from the shop, and then I'm going to figure out the rest tomorrow. I'm probably going to get annoyed with Facebook Marketplace, but maybe if it's a bank holiday, we'll have people coming and picking stuff up and it can get out my house and job can be a good one. But yeah, I am loving how it is in here now. I'm really actually quite sorry but not sorry that it's June waffle, so you guys will have seen this a bit delayed. Yeah, because you'll be seeing it in July. But I hope you like it as much as I do. And we'll see. I'm sort of saving the nice shop view for my next vlog, hence you're getting printers behind me. But if you notice, Milky Way moved, and it moved straight away. So it came off the wall, got new command strips put on, and got put straight back up on the wall without floating around in this shop for ages. So I do feel like I've really gone sort of full out. I was expecting to need Megan's help with these cupboards and things, but I just started clearing things out and it just ended up happening. I just did lots of little stints and then sitting down outside in the shade and then another little stint, which is why I didn't film as much, because it was lots of little bits. And I didn't quite know what I was doing and I didn't quite stay in one place. So I would take a few bits out of here and then, so for example, the cry cut things, and then I took them into the warehouse and put them on the shelf. But then I messed with something else in the warehouse and maybe brought some of that out here before I ended up going back and doing another cupboard. So I was doing a lot of walking and backing and toing. And I also had tables covered, either with this needs to go, or the likes of all the 3D printer bits out the drawer that I needed Will to sort through and determine what we did or didn't need. Because if it breaks, I don't deal with that. I can troubleshoot very small things. So he's gone through all of that, and I have now a tub of 3D printer parts tucked behind there. Yeah, and just ready to access when needed. So I think that's it. Do let me know what you think to the space. Apologies if the camera was a bit up and down before. I don't have like a really tall tripod that I can use. I just have a small one. So a lot of that was handheld, which in this heat now may not have been the best. But yeah, any questions, do let me know down below. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.